Okay. So yesterday we left off where we have a random number generator. We create a random answer choice that the computer has selected between what numbers? What? Between 1 and 10, right? So this number is your first, and this number is how many answer choices you have, right? Then we printed out welcome to the guessing game, and then we asked them to guess a number between 1 and 10, right? After that, we created our scanner so that we could actually get the user's input, right? And then we said, well, if their guess is equal to the answer, then we'll tell it that, we'll tell them that they won, right? So system.out.trend line. You should already have this, I believe.
Firewall.
When, because we have bad network administrators. If the answer is bigger than the guess, that means the guess is smaller than the answer, then we would print out something like, you guessed too low, okay? And then if the other is true, so if it's not, the answer is greater than the guess, then that means that the answer is going to be smaller, right? So you guessed too high. Okay, so you should already have that. It should work one time, right? If we run this, I can compile, and then I can run it. And what I do, it says, welcome to the guessing game. Guess a number between 1 and 8, or 1 and 10. I'm going to type in 8. Somehow I guessed it. If I run it again, and then I say, guess a number between 1 and 10, I guess 8. I guess too high. But then the program terminates. I wish I could put this. The program ends right there, right? Because I don't have any kind of loop going on. So we need to add a loop, right? What do we want to loop? Like, if you were gonna guess, like, which steps in here are we gonna loop? What?
The if statements.
The if statements, is that it? Let's try it. Let's do this here. Okay, so let's do a while loop. So while starts with a while, open close parentheses. Inside of here is where we put our condition. Okay, so in what condition, under what circumstances do we want to loop? And then we open close parentheses, and that's the whole chunk that we're going to loop. So control I, it's going to auto indent. So now I just have the if, the else if, and the else inside of the loop. And then I have open close parentheses here. We need to fill that in with our condition. Okay? Yeah? Right. Yeah. And then you just need a curly bracket there, and then a curly bracket after that else. So close a curly bracket right where your cursor is, and then right here open curly bracket. There you go. Okay, so what is the condition that we want to loop? We want to loop until what happens? Until what? You guess the correct answer. So we want to loop until guess equals answer, perhaps. But we want to loop, like, we want to loop as long as this isn't true, right? If it is true, then we don't want to go into a loop, right? Like, does that make sense? So instead of doing the double equals, let's do the not equals. So while guess is not equal to answer, loop. Okay, so I'm going to tell you now that we're going to get a couple of errors right here. Okay, we're going to get, if I run this, first thing, if I compile, I'm going to get an error, a compile error, and then after I fix the compile error, we're going to get a runtime error. Okay?
Oh, the user, yeah.
So somehow that compiled. Oh, no, first we're going to get a runtime error, then we're going to get another error. Okay. So I compile, it works. Let's get the runtime error first. So let's run it and see what happens. Anybody know what's going to happen? Guesses? Thoughts? What do we think? Internal hiding. What do we think? If I
Oh,
type
it's infinite.
7, mine's not infinite.
Well, mine is.
Yeah. Maybe I actually guessed the number. I'm getting pretty good at this game, guys. Second time I've guessed it on the first try. That's the only reason why it wouldn't have looped infinitely. So yes, if you have that infinite loop, that's what I'm going for. So I'm typing 7 this time. It's probably what to say. And now it's looping forever. I'll come back just a second. It's looping forever, right? Okay, I want you guys to think for a minute.
Rolling me out. Clear.
What is it? Control Shift K kills it? No, Control Shift.
Oh, just go into the options where you can close.
No, I can, like my mouse is frozen. Is what I'm saying. Like,
Oh, yeah, you're trying to, it's actually here.
no, I think it's my mouse just doesn't have a good range.
Ooh, so what happened?
Okay, so let's read what happens. Okay, so we pick our random number, we print out, hey, make a guess, we create our scanner, and then we get the user's guess, right? And then we go into the loop and we say, as long as guess doesn't equal answer, loop this, right? After we start this loop, do we ever change the value of guess? Do we ever reassign guess to be another guess from the user? No, we don't, right? So guess is always going to be what it was initially, which means these if statements are going to loop forever. It's never changing guess. It will never be answer after it wasn't the answer.
We need to put the integer user guess in there inside.
Okay, so if I move this whole line, and I move it right here, now it's trying to compile, what happens?
Cannot compile on machine event.
Okay, so kill it from before. Okay, so why do we think this is happening? Yeah, so I'm trying to use guess, the variable that I created, to check whether I can go into my while loop, but I haven't even created that variable yet, right? I'm creating it after I enter the while loop. So the while loop is saying, well, what's guess? I don't know what it is. It hasn't existed before, right? So we need to declare the integer guess before our while loop.
I need help filling
One more
in.
time. I got you. You can close the bar, right? Or just right click that bar. Oh, it's still not good. Okay. You type Control Shift on, or auto in there. And you need to know, oh, what is that? Oh, I made this not equal. So put an exclamation point, and now it should work. Okay. So let's declare guess before our loop. And so what I want to do is I'm going to make guess something that it could never be, like if I would actually select a number, right? Because I don't want guess to equal answer before I start, right? Otherwise, if it is, if I make guess, let's say I declared it to be 7, I initialized it to 7. If the random number were 7, this loop would never run, right? So it would never say like, great, you guessed the right number. So let's make it -1, because it's never going to actually equal -1, which means that it will always run through the loop one time. Does that make sense? Okay. If I compile it right now, I'm going to get another error. Have any of you seen this error already in your experience last week? What do you think this means? What?
You forgot something.
No, it doesn't mean I forgot something. It means I have something extra. Okay, so what this is saying that I've already declared guess to be an integer. I already said make guess an integer and assign it the value given one. I did that right here. Okay, I can reassign guess to be anything throughout my whole program, but I can't say make it an integer again. It gets confused. It's trying to make a new variable, and it says, well, I already have a variable that's an integer named guess. So how does this even work? It gets confused. So we have to delete this integer. When we reassign it a value every time, we don't have to tell it to be an integer again. We only do that one time. Does that make sense? So now it should compile and run it and see how you go, how it works. Does it work? What happens? I'll be right there. Let me give you 30 seconds. So my hint for you would be if I'm trying to guess how many times they guessed, right? I want to keep track of how many times they guessed. Where are they guessing? Right here, right? So I would maybe add some line of code here. Okay, let's say in real life, let's say we're playing the guessing game. Okay, we're playing, so I say, Seth, pick a number. I've got a number selected between 1 and 10, pick one. You said 3, okay, and so I would say, nope, that's not it. That's too low. So pick again. 2. What? 4. Still too low. 5. You got it. It took you 2 guesses. So where am I counting? When do I count the guesses? After he guesses, right? I say, okay, add 1 to the number of guesses that we already had, right? So somehow we have to figure out how to convert that concept to code. All right? So we already talked, this is probably where you want to put it. Okay, and in order to do that, we need what kind of number? Is it a decimal? Is it a whole number to count? It's a whole number, right? Which means I need what type? What data type? An integer, right? So somewhere up here, I need to declare an integer that's going to count, try. So it might be called try count, or user guesses, or tries, or count, or something, right? And then down here, I need to do something to make it increment every time, okay?